Angels come in many different forms. Most people, when they hear the word angel, they think of a person surrounded by bright white and long white wings floating down from the heavens. But in reality, there are angels that are around us every day. Appalachia, the mountains, are like no other. From its rigid terrain, beautiful wildlife, to the people that live their lives here, to the strange, unexplained stories that folks share. Join me while I share this amazing place, one story at a time. Deep in the mountains of Kentucky lived a small family. They lived in a plank cabin, raised their food, and farmed for money for the things they could not raise themselves. Tragically, the man of the family was killed while cutting down a tree. With him gone, there was no money to pay the note, so the bank took everything. The mother and child loaded all their personal belongings into the covered wagon and headed deeper into the mountains. They found a place by a stream where they lived out of the old covered wagon, which was okay till winter come. Kentucky winters can be very bitter. So they ended up finding a cave while out hunting something to eat. So they made it home. It kept them warm and dry and safe from the elements and wild animals alike. But there was a bigger problem. They were running out of food fast. They lived off homemade bread for months. In the summer, they could eat berries. The bank just so happened to take Paul's gun, so there wasn't any hunting that they could do. The little mother got on her knees, folded her hands, and prayed hard. She told the Lord, I know you're a God that supplies all our needs. We're almost out of food, and we sure could use a home. I won't be selfish and ask for a bunch of things. Just these two is all we need. So she got up, she stoked the fire, and got the last cup of flour and made a small pan of bread for the two of them. And then soon enough, they fell asleep. The next morning, the two headed out for some wood to keep warm. All of a sudden, they came across a man laying on the dirt trail. His old horse had thrown him and took off, and he hit his head. Well, they picked him up and took him back to the cave where they warned him. The mother noticed he had a rifle, so while she cared for the man, her son went deer hunting. And if by some miracle the biggest buck the child had ever seen stepped out of the woodlines, well, the child took aim, harvested that buck, and took it home to be prepared for supper. The two of them took turns keeping the man comfortable while the other one ate. The two thanked God for the deer, for it was just what they needed. Suddenly, the man come to. He looked around and asked, "What's going on here? Where am I at?" The lady told him who she was and where he was, and the man finally recalled a coyote had spooked his horse and it panicked and ran off. Luckily for him, so did that old coyote. It turns out the man was a rich banker from a nearby town. He asked, "What happened? Why are you two living in a cave during the winters in Kentucky?" That's where the woman shared her story. Well, the man told her he would soon repay her act of kindness. And while the woman and the child stayed behind, he proceeded to the town. So he went to the bank and purchased the cabin that the two used to own. When he came back, he gave it back to her, paid in full. The deed was in her name. He also filled the place with all the food and everything the two could ever need. The woman and the child both fell to their knees, thanking God for his blessings. The man, well, he returned home to live out his normal life, and the two woke up every day thanking God for the simple miracle. The man, if he ever returned to the home, he always had two faithful, forever friends that lived in that old cabin. Well, folks, I'd like to thank you for sitting and listening to the tale of this poor woman and what she went through, believing in God that He would supply her needs in her time of trouble. She didn't come bitter or nasty. She still just laid her trust in the Lord. And when the two found the man injured, they just naturally took him in and helped him get better. So to me, not only was the man an angel for buying that house for the lady and making sure she had everything she needed in the food, but in a way, the lady and the child were also angels. They're at the right place in the right time to help the man survive. Well, I want to thank you for listening to me. I love you to pieces, and I'll see you next time.